So I've just got off the phone with a candidate of mine who I'm working with for the job search, and we just spoke about failure in job search, and what does failure mean in your job search, and how do we learn from it, and how do we utilize it? Does it put us down, or does it leap us forward, or leapfrog us forward, or do we use it as a catalyst to generate more success? And I think it's really important for us to think about failure in a healthy way, more in a form of data rather than a ultimatum of yes or no. Failure for most people means no. For me, it means data of how to course correct. So in your job search, if you've applied for 10 jobs in one day and they've all been shortlisted as no, then it's not failure. It's just that approach probably doesn't work as well as you'd thought. The average job seeker spends 11 hours a week applying for jobs, and they do this week in, week out. And after a month to 2 months, they have very little to show for it. And then you accumulate all the hours you spend in a week. And then you think, okay, I failed. Nothing has come from this. This is a failure. It's not a failure. It's data to show you that 11 hours a week is valuable time, especially if you're going to be converting that in a role to give you a salary. So you then have to look at it in a form of energy or fun coupons, which is money. So you've spent money 11 hours a week to generate little to no success, which means you have to spend those energy or fun coupons in a much better way. So if your failure is it doesn't work, you're going to continue doing it. And that's the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. So this is a very polite way of me saying if you're just continually applying and nothing's happening, you are technically insane. But let's get you out of insanity. Let's get you into the realm of possibilities by looking at failure differently. If you fail, course correct, data giving you, hey, this is not working, but this could be. But it's up to you of how you course correct and how effectively and quickly you do that. So if you're spending 11 hours a week, which the average job seeker is, and you're not generating something, use those 11-hour weeks or 11 hours in a week in a different way. So rather than spending 11 hours a week applying for jobs, spend 4 hours a week applying for jobs and 7 hours a week networking or researching what companies are actually looking for. Now, when I spoke to this candidate just now, we were talking about the failure of an understanding of how transferable it is to success. So if you saw a previous video of mine where I talk about another student of mine that has spent 8 hours a day networking, generating amazing results in their networking strategy, generating 7, 8 interviews every week, which is unheard of for most job seekers, and then not showing up for any of them because they were burnt out. Now, again, you could say that is failure, and it is to a degree, but it's data to show we shouldn't be spending 8 hours a day networking. We should probably be spending half an hour to 45 minutes. Now, data is important to know how to structure your job search, your interview prep, your salary negotiations, how you generate the success that you want. If you blindly run into a strategy or lack of in your job search, you risk wasting a lot of time and energy. And it's a shame if that happens, but it's also a blessing because you have to course correct. The majority of people that I come in contact with that reach out to me have been applying for 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, 2 years, 3 years. It's been more than 3 years in some cases. And the natural phenomenon that I see is people doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result, which is insanity. So I'm not a psychologist, but I have a lot of interest in psychology. It helps me do the job that I do, which is coaching people, helping people, finding solutions to problems. But I think a lot of these problems can also be sorted out by just zooming out a little bit and thinking, okay, well, what's working? What's this trying to tell me? What's my relationship with failure? Is it the negative one where, hey, this isn't working, I'm going to continue doing it until it does? Or, okay, this isn't working, or why is it not working? Could I change my approach? Could I do something differently that generates better results? And in most cases, you could argue that there is always something better to do. Maybe the lack of understanding of the market is something you need to look into. Maybe it's you're applying to a lot of jobs that are just different industries. You want to be a project manager and you're applying to the architectural space, you're applying to the tech space, you're applying in the AI space, the fintech space, the military, you're applying in healthcare, everything. There's no specific area that you're focused on. Maybe that failure of applying to all of those industries and not getting one thing, maybe the failure is telling you, the data is telling you, pick an industry, get to know an industry. I can't tell you the amount of times that people have generated major success in their job search by understanding an industry. And the failure of applying for everything and anything has caused them to double down, laser focus on one area, and actually generate real conversations with real people because they were specifically focusing on one thing. And the failure, the data, took them to think about their job search in that way. Now, another thing, let's say you have interviews and you're not getting past the first stage. Doing interviews over and over again, expecting no results or the same results, is again insanity. The data is showing you something's not working. Employers are asking, tell me about yourself, and you're fumbling it. You probably know you're fumbling it, but you're going again and again and again, hoping to get better. Like, look, repetition and training is perfection. I get that fully, but laser focus training, knowing what's wrong, having something to show you what the issue is. If you're blindly going into these things, and especially when they're so life-changing, if you think about it, your job is life-changing. You can get into the wrong job and it could be life-changing in the wrong way. So running with your eyes closed, hoping for the best, is a recipe for disaster. Going into the strategy of thinking, okay, I'm going to know what I'm going to look for. I'm going to know what my weaknesses are. I'm going to work on those weaknesses to turn them into strengths. And I'm going to turn the strengths into more higher strengths or stronger strengths, if that's a way of saying it. And then I'm going to have a bigger picture to know what's missing. I'm going to focus on the ability to generate better results because I understand that failure isn't failure. It's just data showing me to reroute. I saw something online about a motivational post about Google Maps. If you go down the wrong road and you're driving down, a road in your car and you go the wrong way, Google Maps doesn't say, hey, you're a failure. It just says, turn around, go that route, turn left, keep going straight, and you'll get to your destination. That's the way we have to look at failure. It's just a redirect. It's a reroute. It's data to help us restructure our approach. And I think it's really important that we remember that because it's very easy to let failure dictate how we feel in our job search with anything in life. And also it breeds different things like imposter syndrome. Like, I can't tell you the amount of people that I speak to that have imposter syndrome because of past failures that are just redirects. They think, okay, well, I've got imposter syndrome. I've got all this stuff that's stopping me from doing the job once I get it. I mean, imagine that. You get a job and then you don't want to do it because you're afraid of failing. And the data is telling you, okay, well, the structure now needs to be, you need to get better at what you do. You need to build your confidence again. If you've got imposter syndrome, you then need to recognize that there's something missing in the way you communicate, in the way you feel about your role. Maybe you're in the wrong industry. Maybe there's another role you want to do and you're just kind of playing it safe. The failure will disguise itself as data that's actually teaching you how to present yourself better, to look for different things, to improve a strategy, a system, if you will. The system is lacking direction, and you need a system for many things in life, and you need a system for job search. So failure is data. Data are clues. Clues need to be acted on, and you need to double down that in your job search. Look, I love doing these videos. If this has been helpful, let me know. Like. If you don't like this video, dislike. If you want to subscribe, costs you nothing, means the world to me. And if you want to work together, links are in the description. I'd love to work with you. I give a free call to the majority of people I speak to, give you some advice. If you want to work a little bit more longer term with me, where we get the goal completed, I would love to hear out how we can be the right fit. I will see you on the next video. Thank you.